Flag your race-watching snacks with Mission's mouth-watering race day recipes. Try some of our tasty tacos, piled high nachos, fresh chips with guac, and more. So gear up your ride and fuel up those stomachs with delicious Mission foods. Now that's too fast, too tasty. Hungry for SVRA action? Well, the best way to enjoy classic auto racing is with a delicious classic from Mission Foods. Green flag your race-watching snacks with Mission's mouth-watering race day recipes. Try some of our tasty tacos, piled high nachos, fresh chips with guac, and more. So gear up your ride and fuel up those stomachs with delicious Mission Foods. Now that's too fast, too tasty.
If your tooling isn't quite ready, and you need parts, and you need more parts than just a few, or if your run is just not that big, look to the experts in low-volume production, three-dimensional services. Whether it's 10, 100, or 1,000 parts, we can meet your needs. And if it's 10,000, we can do that too. Three-dimensional services delivers high-quality parts for short runs, 70% faster than industry standards. Three-dimensional services. Prototype, production, proven.
You've got a business to run, big and heavy products to ship, and customers who need them now. When you've got the right driver and the right equipment, you can bet on a spectacular result. Bennett understands complex logistics and puts the best team, the most time, and the latest technology into every customer relationship. So you can sit back, relax, and enjoy the race. Let us handle the rest.
Together, we can move anything.
Hey everyone, welcome to NOLA Motorsports Park in New Orleans in Louisiana. It's a beautiful day here, a little bit windy, but we're in the perfect place to go racing once again for the second round of the Trans Am Series. With me once again, as ever, Adam Andretti, and Adam has just literally stepped out of the car, so he knows these guys like the back of his hand. But we've got already a championship on our hands here because it hasn't gone all to plan so far for our champion Chris Dyson, and we've got Brabham, his teammate, leading the championship.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly hasn't gone all to plan for Chris Dyson, but neither had it gone all to plan for Justin Marks either at Sebring. So it kind of starts that out on an even keel. Really, the three people that finished on the podium at Sebring and aren't committed to a full season in Trans Am. So it kind of puts Ken Twaits, the leader of Showtime Motorsports, in kind of a points lead, so to speak, if you will.
And NOLA's not a place that we've raced many times before. I know you've raced it, but it's a few years since most of this field has been here.
Absolutely. Actually, the only two drivers in this Trans Am grid that have raced here in anger in a Trans Am car are David Penterick and our two-time champion Amy Ruman. Actually, the only Trans Am driver here to win at this racetrack in a Trans Am race.
How do you see it going? We've got this long week straight. We've got a bit of wind here. Who's going to be favor this?
You said it right there. This is wind. This is a big headwind coming down this only long straightaway and into one of the only passing zones we have at NOLA Motorsports Park. So I've already seen a few little aero changes on the cars that I haven't seen all weekend long, so it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. Do you give up a little bit of downforce? Do you give up a little bit of speed on the backside of the course, which would leave you vulnerable then for the end of the S's and the turn 13 pass, the other key passing zone here at NOLA Motorsports Park?
It's certainly going to be an interesting race because we've got the super sub, if you will, Matthew Brabham. Whenever he's got in a car, he seems to win 4 out of 6, I think it was. He's now leading the championship. Will he stay for the whole year? He's one of the most versatile drivers you'd ever want to meet, and he's certainly going to push Justin Marks all the way. Justin Marks, though, took the pole for Trackhouse Racing, and he spoke to Ben Sissel for the Motul Pole Award. First of all, though, let's take a short break. We'll be back with that after this.
performance. Desire. For 160 years, Motul has helped engines and drivers go faster, further, and stronger. Tested in the heat of battle, driven with passion, with one aim, to give you superior powertrain protection and performance. Motul.
I'm Richard Petty, and you might say I've had a fairly successful driving career. And you know the secret of my success? Having a good support team around me when I need it. Whether you're a route driver, over-the-road trucker, or you're interested in driving special purpose vehicles, Clean Harbors is the kind of place where you can build a long driving career. Do yourself a favor, give Clean Harbors a call.
Well, here we are for the Trans Am Series presented by Pirelli, the TA, XGT, SGT, GT classes, the Fan Walk, and we are with the Motul Pole Award winner for both events here, Justin Marks. Justin, NOLA Motorsports Park, how's it feel?
Yeah, it feels good. I mean, I've never been here before, which is sort of surprising because I've been to a lot of tracks, but it's a pretty unique place, very technical, physical, bumpy surface, a lot of slow speed corners, but some high speed stuff too. So it's a setup challenge for the team, but everybody at Showtime Motorsports did a really good job. Put a good qualifying setup on it, and we got the pole, and we'll see what we got in the race.
So when the green flag drops, what's your strategy going into a bumpy turn one?
I mean, I think the trick is really going to be to make sure we get our temps and our pressures up as much as possible on the pace laps, so we can charge turn one as hard as possible. You know, it's a pretty fast right-hander. It leads right into a left-hander, so being on the inside, you know, I gotta try to get through there pretty good, because if Matt hangs on my outside, then he'll have a preferred line for turn two, and I'm in trouble. So I don't know, just drive it in there as deep as you feel reasonable and hope it sticks.
Nice. Now, walking around these Trans Am events, you run into Trans Am legends like Ron Fellows right here in his Chevrolet shirt. What do you think, Ron? You've seen the evolution of Trans Am. This is pretty cool to see, and then the likes of people like Justin Marks racing with us.
Yeah, no, this is awesome. I'm admiring his car. This is awesome. The last time I drove was 2014, and that was I literally got in with Jim Durhog and got in the car, and he reminded me that, oh yeah, I've been 10 years since I've been in a car that the engines are a little different now. So these things look and sound awesome, and put on a great show. It's great to be here, and again, just to see the kind of show that TA continues to put on.
Nice, I love it. And I just got a little hint there that Ron Fellows might want to ride in one of these TA cars. Let's go over and talk to Matt Brabham, qualified second. Matt, I even did the go-karts last night, and your name is on the top of the list in go-karts. So you're just fast in everything, aren't you?
Yeah, I don't know. I hope so, but no, yeah, we had a good time with the go-karts. We went with the Dyson Racing guys and the crew. They were working hard all weekend, so I thought I'd go over and rough them up a little bit some more in the go-karting. But no, the track over there is awesome. This track is sweet, and yeah, ready to go today.
Nice. Now, I asked Justin this: when the green flag drops, what's your strategy to get by him in turn one?
Well, what's his strategy?
His strategy was to keep him behind you.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to make plans, but I'm definitely going to be aggressive. I'm kind of like the aggressor on the team side of things in the early part of the race, and this car is probably going to be pretty strong in the early part of the race, maybe not at the end. So yeah, my strategy is to be aggressive in the beginning.
So back in your dad and grandfather's day, that would have been called the rabbit. Are you the rabbit here?
Yeah. The rabbit or the bull, I don't know, like that, yeah, something like that. But it's hard to make plans, as I said. So we'll just kind of see how it goes. But yeah, definitely going to be pushing the whole race, and I'm not really in the mindset of saving anything at the moment. So we'll see how it goes, though.
I love it. Matt Brabham won at Sebring. He's done 6 races with us, and I think he's won 4 times and got second place twice. Is that right, Matt? It's a crazy record. Let's come over here to Chris Dyson. champion, over here with Bo. Look at that, getting some photos. Sorry, guys. Sorry, Bo. Chris Dyson, you know I love the awkward questions. Not the start to your third championship that you wanted. How are you going to make that back at NOLA?
Well, it's just one race at a time here. I mean, this is a long season. It's 11 races, and we've got a lot of competition this year. So, yeah, we weren't happy leaving Sebring, but obviously we got a 1-2 for the team. We know the speed's in the car. We just got to go out there, hit our marks, and execute today. And I've got confidence the team's given me a great car. We've got both Jim Weed cars running fast the whole weekend. And I'm looking forward to getting back up front today.
And I see you've got Jim Weed in your hand. Isn't there some special promotion you're offering?
In fact, there is, Ben. No, in fact, I'd encourage everybody who's watching here to support us, support the team, and go to jimweed.com. Type in the keyword Dyson20 for the promo code, and you'll get 20% off of all online orders.
Perfect. I love it. Good luck out there, Chris Dyson. David Pinterick starting fourth, the beautiful red, white, and blue. He's been here with us in years past. I love the look of the car. Pinterick, green flag drops. What's your role in this?
Go like hell.
I love it.
It's simple. Let's not complicate things. Just go. Learn something from those guys and try to keep up with them.
Now, I know you're a NOLA SpeedTour and these fan walks.
Oh, it's great. You know, you see these, especially the young kids coming in, and they're just wide. Their eyes are big and wide and all that stuff. Wait till they see the start of the race. That's going to be impressive because we put on a real show for them.
I love it. David Pinterick, this beautiful red, white, and blue Mustang. Then we got to come to really the most winning person here at our grid at NOLA Motorsports Park. Amy, you got a first place and a second place. Was that 15 and 16?
Yes, it was. Yep. 15 and 16. It's been a minute since we've been here.
Has the track changed at all?
Yeah, they made some improvement down the straightaway area. It's not as bumpy as it was, but some of the back area is a lot bumpier. So it's definitely challenging. It's a challenging track for sure.
Now, green flag drops. You're starting back here behind all these drivers, the fast drivers. What is your strategy for the whole race? Not just the green flag. I know you're going for the whole race.
Well, traditionally we have really good starts, so I'm hoping to have a good start, maybe make up a couple spots. We'll see. If that doesn't happen, we'll settle in. I think it's going to be a long race. Personally, I think it's going to be green, which is going to be challenging for everybody. I wouldn't mind seeing a caution because it is super busy here and very, lots of turns. So I think we'll settle in, and if you want to win, first you got to finish. So.
Now, I got to point out something. You know I love the awkwardness. Let me see your hand real quick. Let's see how much it matches. Is that true McNichols red?
Pretty close. It's pretty close. Yeah. This is sun faded, though, so this is fresh. So, you know.
So straight out of the sprayer, right? Yeah. I love it. Amy Ruman, good luck out there. We're going to come over here. Ken Twaits, Franklin Road Apparel. I just love the look of this McNichols red Chevrolet Corvette sporting the number 23. But Ken Twaits, man, it's been a great weekend so far. Your driver's up front, but currently you're kind of the leader of this championship hunt. How does it feel to be back at NOLA Motorsports Park?
Well, we got a good finish at Sebring, and so that's cool. And we've had great finishes in our TA2 cars. So let's hope for a clean race, and we'll bring them all home safely and load them on the trailer in one piece. That's the goal today.
Nice. I love it. Well, good luck out there. We'll see you out there running. We'll come back here. Tommy Dreese, we're gonna make Tommy Dreese run a little bit because I spoke to Tommy earlier today. Tommy, I was really impressed with your speed, brand new car, 3GT, the Lucas Oil, sporting MAV TV. But man, it seems like you've got a rocket ship.
Yeah, the guys at 3GT, the whole family, the Genelosi family, and all the guys and girls put so much work into this. We didn't turn a wheel before Sebring. We were really good at the end of the race, so this thing's coming alive. We got some tweaks to it, that I think we can still make it faster, and some tweaks to the driver, right? So yeah, just glad to be here.
I think Paul Genelosi might say the tweaks to the driver. It's going to add like a 1/4 inch of wedge into your ear.
Oh, it's always Genelosi. It's always the driver. Yeah. It's always the driver. So, but no, they worked so hard on this, and so proud to have the Lucas family on here and MAV TV. I watched the telecast the other day. Awesome.
That's awesome. Tommy, good luck out there. We're going to go to one more driver over here putting his balaclava on, but the other driver here that has been to NOLA Motorsports Park with us, You came back in 15 or 16. We actually went go-karting last night, got bumped in the back by Lee Saunders. But, Lee, how does it feel to be back at NOLA?
I think that was a love tap, actually. Good, very good to be back to NOLA. Just a great facility. Love it. Fans are great, so a lot of fun. Hopefully we can give Ricky something to think about. He's super fast, so we're a little bit on our back foot, but we'll give it a try.
Nice. I love it. Lee Saunders here in this beautiful black Dodge Viper. We're going to make our way back up through. Matt Crandall, check this out. Beautiful XGT car. Matt Crandall, thank you for being here. Love having you out here. This orange Mustang. We come through here. Amy Ruman, Ken Twaits, Chris Dyson. We spoke to him. We've got a great field of cars here at NOLA Motorsports Park. We've kind of cleared the grid of the fans. People are getting excited. This should be quite a fun race. So we're going to come up here, get everything going for the invocation with Bill Knox. So Bill, come over here real quick, Bill. Bill, something that I love about Bill Knox being here with Road Race Ministries is I noticed even just we were calling Tommy over from you. You pray with all the drivers. You pray for safety, right?
Correct. We pray with all the drivers, ask for God's blessing on the drivers, the crews, help them remain smart and remain safe.
And if you know anything about Trans Am drivers, they definitely need to stay grounded, especially right now when the adrenaline is starting to flow. So, Bill, if you'll take the mics from me and deliver the invocation, please.
Thank you. If you'll join me in prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this glorious day, and we hope that all we do, Father, brings honor and glory to your name. Father, we ask for your hedge of protection upon the drivers, the crews, the fans, their families, especially for those who cannot be with us, Father. We ask for you to watch over them. Protect our first responders, our police, as they try to protect us. And Father, we ask that you protect our military wherever they are in the world as they protect this great country which you have given to us. In your Son's most precious name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Bill Knox, and thank you so much for being a part of the Trans Am series. Now, Kyle Brandon to deliver the national anthem. No pressure, but man, Aaron really gives us some great national anthem singers. So, Kyle, take the mics, take it away, sir.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight for the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Wow. Kyle Brandon, beautiful. Thank you so much. Well, gentlemen, I'm going to send this back up to you in the booth to run through this grid. Up to you, gentlemen.
Great stuff, Ben, and great to hear the national anthem sung so strongly and with fervour as we take a look at the front row. Justin Marks and Matthew Brabham going head-to-head. It's going to be interesting to watch those two go up against each other. The champion is on the second row with David Pintarik. Chris Dyson starts on the third position. Ken Thwaites and Amy Ruman on row 3. Then Tommy Dreesy and Matt Crandall. Ricky Sanders and Lee Saunders, former SGT champion in that Viper, will start on row 5. And then further down, it's Chris Evans, Milton Grant, and Michael Attaway, the only GT competitor in that Audi here today. So we've got GT, XGT, SGT, and of course the big boys from TA. And talking of big boys, I've got one of the competitors from the last round here with me, Adam Andretti. And Adam, as you as always love watching and doing TA, and you've raced this circuit. That, I think, is a huge advantage because I don't know much about it. I haven't even been around this circuit, but it's a tough one, isn't it?
It is. You know, it's a very challenging circuit here at NOLA Motorsports Park, and that's why it's so well received by the drivers. You know, on the surface, it's flat. You know, you didn't think it would have much to offer, but it does. It gives you some flow. It's challenging. It's you know, it's on an unsettled surface as you're out here in the swamps of Louisiana. So the surface always seems to be changing out there. And, you know, like Chris Dyson, for example, he has never been here. I don't even think they made a lap here testing. I don't think they even came down here to test. So, you know, when he showed up here this weekend, that was already a disadvantage and starting behind the 8 ball. So I look for Chris to keep gaining over the 100 miles, Jonathan Green.
Well, as we get ready to go racing, we are looking high above from the drone. And as you can see, our homologato countdown gives us 10 minutes. But let's head down once again to Ben Sissel, who's in the thick of it all. Ben, what have you got?
Well, thanks, Jonathan. I'm here with David Pace, general manager here at NOLA Motorsports Park. He does a little bit of everything. We were here last year for the NOLA SpeedTour, but we didn't bring the Trans Am show. We had a great show with SVRA, and we had the crawfish boil out there. We had FRF4. But you're like, I really want Trans Am to come here. And you've made so many improvements. You've added the bleachers, so many things for spectators. But there's so much that I don't know. So tell us what all you've been working on.
Well, this has been a lot of things, and you're right. Tony and I have been talking about making this into a pro event, and this year you guys really brought a great show. A lot of cars here. It's been awesome. Car show was huge. A lot of people came out. We had a lot of our local fans like Al Copeland and them came out. So they all love it. So it's been great. And we've been doing a lot of improvements. We've been trying, you know, you see the asphalts on the front stretch, grandstand. We've got some more work we're going to do this summer. So we're trying real hard to keep up and just keep bringing the big boys here.
Nice. I love it. And the character of the track, the way that it's laid out, it's so much fun because you've got this long straightaway into turn 1, but then it kind of becomes a bunch of twisty bits in the carousel. And talking to the drivers, Justin Marks was saying this track has a little bit of everything. Is that what you guys were going for?
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, it's intimidating because when you look at it from afar, and I've talked to some of your drivers here at Trans Am when they were here testing, you know, it's very flat. So you think, oh, this is going to be a boring track. And then you get on it, and it's like, wait a minute, this is a little trickier than I thought. So it really is. You carry a lot of speed down here. The front stretch is so long. So.
And then you've got this great autocross section that the Optima Search for the Ultimate Street Cars here this weekend. We've offered so much. And is that what a lot of your events are here at NOLA Motorsports Park?
We always try to pile out everything we possibly can, and this is the first year that we've actually had everything going. We had a kart race happening at the same time, your events were happening, and the Optima was happening, so we had all surfaces running at the same time yesterday. It was great.
And you can even shoot zombies with paintballs here from a school bus if you would like to.
Yeah, you can, actually. So we've got some events, you know, next 3 weeks from now we have Hemmings. 4 weeks after that, we have SRO coming back. And then, yeah, come around October, it's going to be crazy because a New Orleans favorite, we've created zombie paintball last year, and it was just out of control.
Nice. Well, Mr. Pace, what a great name for somebody that manages a racetrack. Take the mics and announce the most famous words in motorsports.
NOLA, are you ready? Drivers, start your engines!
So, as we savor the sound of those beautiful engines, muscle cars rolling into action as they have since 1966, will be on board with the Lucas Ford Mustang of Tommy Dreesy. And it's a big day for Tommy. He hasn't had the start to the season he wanted. In fact, last season didn't go as according to plan. So Dreesy needs to get back on track, so to speak. We know he's capable He's already been a winner many times over and a champion, and looking forward to seeing what he can do. So we will also be getting close and personal with every driver, including this man, Matthew Brabham. Matt Brabham started off brilliantly last time out, and he is in the Jim Weed number 20. He will be challenging our pole man for sure. But it is Justin Marks on the pole as we get ready to roll off pit lane and onto the track. We'll take a short break. We'll be right back. Now, alongside me, Adam Andretti, as we watch them roll out, I'm sure you, as a sneaky eye and keen eye as you are, saw the wind as I did, and we were out there a moment ago. It's a strong wind coming at you on the front straight, but given that you've got to go around the whole circuit, where's it going to affect you, and where could you be caught out by a strong wind or a gust even?
I was even thinking, honestly, that's a great question, Jonathan, is those switchbacks, the S's, as you're coming back, into a headwind. If that decides it wants to change direction or all of a sudden just die out or pick up on you, these cars aren't super aero sensitive. I will say that. They're like the perfect mix that you want out of a race car. It's like 50% mechanical grip and 50% aero grip, as we're on board here with Chris Dyson, the Jim Weed Ford Mustang. But that's what makes these cars so special is to get half of the grip out of being mechanical when you have that much power. It's so important. So that's why I think the air will be tricky. It could play some tricks, but I don't think it's going to play a huge role other than that straight line speed. So I don't know if maybe you sacrifice a little wing angle, as I've seen a couple of the cars have done that since yesterday's qualifying and practice. Maybe they're sacrificing that to get through that wind down the front straightaway, but that might cost them a little bit of rear stability as they come to the S's, Jonathan.
Well, we'll be finding that out. Tommy Dreesy, as we said, looking for a big weekend out of today. We go into the Bennett's Bridge Hall Turn 3. And yeah, we saw one of the FR cars go off, actually, in the previous race through those S's you mentioned. And I just wonder now whether that will be a factor, but we'll soon find out. 100 miles is the race, and it will kick off in a moment's time, and we'll be keeping up with all of the categories of the race itself. I say all the categories because obviously we've got XGT, SGT, and GT out there, and that's really kind of harping back to the tradition to 1966 when this was a sedan championship before the tube frames came along. Effectively, this was production cars only, and it was very much manufacturer. Trans Am was the home of race on Sunday, buy on Monday, wasn't it?
Absolutely. That's why the GT classes have such a great home here at the Trans Am Series. It's part of the history, and this is the evolution of the history, what we're riding on board with right now is Chris Dyson in the Jim Weed Ford Mustang. This thing is the epitome of what a motor racing car should be able to do. It's got all that power, and it plants that power down to the ground. It has, a fantastic, feel inside the car. Like as far as driving feel, it gives you a lot of feedback to the drivers. So they are, they're animals. They live on a knife's edge, but they give you a little bit of a warning before they wants to take a slice. That's what makes it fun to drive. But as this race goes on, this is a place, as we learned yesterday in the TA2 race, take care of those tires, have something at the end. And just see Tommy Dreesy coming to the screen. He's the only one out there today that has 4 fresh Pirelli P0s on his Ford Mustang.
Yeah, and just tell us how much difference will that make?
I think it makes a heck of a difference. It was one of those things where, like, I was calling in on my pretend radio last night in qualifying, to Matthew Brabham, because I just don't know why he kept lapping during qualifying. Every lap that I saw him doing qualifying, I felt like was taken away from his race today. So only time will tell. Matthew knows more about what he could get out of a race car than anyone I've ever been around. So he didn't do anything, I'd guarantee you, that was going to put him at detriment today. But I do think that Tommy Dreesy is going to find a huge benefit to having those 4 fresh tires on.
And if you're wondering why Adam Andretti is second in the championship, well, because of course he was at Sebring and he replaced Humaid Masood, who had an injured back that weekend. So he was racing with Matthew Brabham, and they got a brilliant 1-2 at Sebring. So congratulations to you on that.
Thank
one.
you.
He tried to slip into Dylan McIvern's car when he was out this weekend, but couldn't quite find it.
No, Scott Lagacy was having no part of that one. I was like, hey, Scott, I thought we were friends here. And And no, it was an all fun and games. It was, out of respect to Dylan, it was not meant to be, and they wanted to make sure that car was safe for 2 weeks at Road Atlanta, and I could totally understand that. As you never know what can happen. I would have had to start from the tail of the field here, and you just never know what can happen there. But anyway, look for Dylan to come back and get healthy and all that. As we're on board with Ken Schweitzer in the Franklin Road Apparel Chevrolet Camaro. He is the leader, the owner of Showtime Motorsports, our pole sitter in the Trackhouse Chevrolet Camaro. Being Justin Marks, he is underneath that camp. He's a proud member of that Showtime camp, and had a little time talking with Justin Marks last night. And wonderful individual.
Let me ask you this. Let's just inform our audience here. Justin Marks, if you know the name, and you certainly know the name Trackhouse Racing, because they're a NASCAR team, Daniel Suarez, and you'll notice that the number 99, which is Suarez's number, well, this is the team owner of that team in NASCAR. And here he is on a Sunday racing in Trans Am. What gives?
Yeah, so is it really Suarez's number, or is it Justin's number? Because he's the owner.
Point. That's a good question.
I think he just carried his own number over to this program. But tons of respect for the guy, and like I said, last night it was the first time I had some time to spend with him. Incredibly humble. I think I walk away like most people do with their first conversation. A conversation with that man is you're just utterly impressed. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he brings to this 100 miles. He was having a great race in Sebring. They had a failure with the alternator, and they've definitely solved that problem. I can guarantee it. And they're ready to go racing here, Jonathan Green.
Yep, and as you can see, Matthew Brabham in the all-white will start on the inside. The pole man, Justin Marks, in the all-black 99 will start on the outside, but it becomes the inside to the first corner. But can Brabham stake his claim and beat Marks into the first corner? He said he's not holding back. He's not playing super sub anymore. He's leading the championship, Brabham, and he's going for it. So too Dyson. Dyson jinking out at the start of this one. Away goes Marks, though. Marks has got the lead, and round the outside, though, goes Brabham, and he does get him. Matthew Brabham does do exactly what I hoped he might, which is try to steal a march on Justin Marks early on. And we're on board with Tommy Greasy, but that was a stunning maneuver from the start of that one. Brabham doing it perfectly.
Absolutely textbook by Matthew Brabham, but don't look too far ahead because you got him coming around the outside. Justin Marks does, and that leaves the door open for Chris Tyson.
Whoa!
Justin deep into the corner, gets into the back of Matthew Brabham and moves him out of the way, and that puts Justin Marks in the lead. But textbook move on the start of this race by Matthew Brabham. As I'm not sure that's exactly how they wanted that to go down as they went through turns 4 and 5, and I'm sure Matthew is a little bit steamy inside the helmet there on how that went down. But
well, I'll be interested to see if the stewards have anything to say about that, because that was a quite muscular move, wasn't it?
Yeah,
and he definitely hit him.
and it is, and that's the thing. You never want to put it in the steward's hands, so he's having a little trouble locking up, and Justin's disappeared off screen. He is not on screen anymore.
No.
He has gone straight off and spun off into the grass, Justin Marks. Oh, no, not a good start for the first lap.
And he's well embedded in there in the 99.
He is deep in the Louisiana swamp, folks. That is out there. You can see almost up to the wheel wells. This might bring out a full course caution if he can't get out. But that gives Chris Dyson, the two-time champion, the lead here at NOLA Motorsports Park.
Well, he's making his way out. You don't want to get out of the car. Too many gators.
Yeah, right.
I'd stay in there, son.
Yeah, I mean, as I was talking about, knife's edge these cars are, and they're just ready to slice you at any moment. And poor Justin fell victim there. It looked like he was having a little trouble under brakes. He had that lockup that caused him to have the contact with Matthew Brabham. I certainly don't think that was intentional. As you saw, he had a hold of the binders. He was trying to get the car low down. But as it turns out, he went into the S's there and tried to grab a hold of the brakes again, and there was no grip up front. So, again, it might be a little bit of that wind, too. You remember, you're getting a pretty heavy headwind coming that way. It might have caused a little bit of unpredictability there, too.
Good start from Amy Ruman as well. Let's not count her out. She's been a winner here, I believe, in the past. And, of course, she's a two-time champion. And as we celebrate Women's International Day a few days ago, great to speak to her on the grid, getting her nail polished, matching the car. Brilliant stuff. There she is.
I tell you, that is such a beautiful race car. You see it in all the hero shots. What a family affair there. Bob and Barb Ruman, excellent support, and a great shout out to International Women's Day, Jonathan Green, and that was last Wednesday. And
Adam, take a look at this. This is Justin Marks missing his mark.
Oh, he got a little bit left on. He got a little bit on the grass on the left under the brakes. I think he locked up the brakes first, and that shot him to the grass. And then he was pretty much a passenger after that. So, I hate to see that for Justin. He's going to be definitely praying for some sort of full course caution to get this field back together. I don't feel he'll go a lap down. He did damage his tires spinning off in the grass like that, obviously. So he's just way, way, way behind the 8 ball right now. When he came across the line, he is 17 seconds, or actually 36 seconds behind the leader. So that's a good third of a lap that he is behind the leader here, Jonathan Green. So he's got his work cut out for him.
Adam, we often talk about pushing on and trying to make overtakes or really going for the win. But when does the car feel at its optimum? When does it feel the most aggressive and you feel the most comfortable? As we see Lee Saunders looking very comfortable as he makes a pass. But when is the car at its best in a 100-mile race?
In a 100-mile race, honestly, I don't think your car's ever at its best. When you have the best out of the tire, you have your most load in the car, right? With the fuel that you have to carry for 100 miles. So that's a lot of movement. That's a lot of weight, a lot of inertia that is not right where you want it in the race car. But you have the tires to help compensate with that. But as the tires wear off, you're burning light on fuel, so you have more nimbleness in the car. However, the tires now aren't giving you the support that you once had. So it's really over 100 miles. That's what makes these 100 miles so tricky. That's why I love this kind of racing, where it is really a sprint race, but it's not. You have to throw some conservative. You have to be a little bit conservative. As I said, it's an 80% race. So you got 80% to go. As we look at this GT battle.
Yeah, this is the SGT battle with Saunders leading it, with Ricky Sanders behind him. So this is the battle for SGT. Saunders, of course, a former SGT champion. So these two going hell-bent for leather early on in this race, and they're actually in 8th and 9th overall. But a good battle, too, between the Viper and the Porsche.
The Saunders and Sanders show.
I know.
As you can see, the Porsche is really nimble through the S's, but when that Viper gets to stretch its legs, that's when it really gets to show what it's made of.
So high above as we head towards the Michelin Foods 13. Justin Marks back out on track, and like you say, hoping for a caution, but at least the car is moving in the right direction and looks as though it's relatively undamaged. He's on pace, and so Justin Marks will have to make his way through and pray for a caution so he can catch up with the rest of the field.
That's it, Jonathan Green, and he's definitely going to give it the whole fighting chance here, and I'm sure he's getting the call on the radio. At this point, it's about conserving what you have, still laying down lap times, but you're not going to sit there and gain huge chunks of time on those top 2 or 3. So your best to save it, so if you do get that caution, you can go on the attack right away. And to bring up Amy Ruman again, hold strong up there in that last podium position, holding an over 1 second gap to David Paterick. So in the Formula One world, she'd be out of the DRS zone, and she'd be in great shape. So this is an awesome job by Amy Ruman in the McNichols Chevrolet Corvette. And then top 2 here, looks like Dyson CD Racing, another 1-2. It's really early to call this thing, but really lap 4 into this race, it's looking great. And Chris Dyson's looking comfortable as ever behind the wheel, that number 16 Jim Weed Ford Mustang.
Yeah, very comfortable indeed. You go on board when you see how he goes about his business. Very smooth indeed. Watch him just gradually put on the throttle and getting up to full power down that main straight. You can see the car rattling and the camera rattling with it. That's how fast and how long this straight is. Brabham's behind him by about 1.1 at the moment, but that gap is ebbing between 0.8 and 1.1, 1.2 it is now as they dive into turn 2. So Dyson just maintaining the gap, but Brabham waiting to pass, and Ruman, great to see her up to 3rd. She had a spin at Sebring and was out of that one.
Yeah, 170 miles an hour down the front straightaway.
Pretty impressive.
Chris Dyson, that's absolutely incredible. And you see why us drivers get so excited about driving these cars. It's that right there. It's the acceleration, the rate of acceleration. It's not only top speed, it's how quick you get there. And Amy Ruman, Bob Ruman, I had a nice conversation with him the other day, and they got some good help with that Corvette, with Aaron and the technical director of Trans Am in these series, and they gave the Corvette the rear wing to move rearward, and that gave Amy that rear end stability that she's really been lacking. She feels in the Corvette and loved it. So they're definitely working with her to keep that beautiful, and Ruben Racing to keep that beautiful Corvette out there in the Trans Am Series. It definitely has its place.
And she's a Corvette girl through and through. She's stuck with that mark through thick and thin, and she doesn't want to change it anytime soon. Coming into Mission Foods then, it's our leader in TA, and in XGT it's Matt Crandall in 7th overall, but leading in XGT. SGT led by Lee Saunders still, as he and Sanders go at it, and in GT it's Michael Attaway leading there. Here is Ken Thwaites. Now, you made a good comment, which is he's kind of leading the battle for the guys doing the full championship, because you could argue yourself, Brabham and a few others not doing the full season, and so this is a big weekend, and each and every race weekend is turning out for Ken Thwaites to be so, because he's also announced his retirement at the end of this season.
Yeah, I agree 100%, and I don't think anybody in the paddock doesn't wish for success for this guy. He is one of the most well-liked people in the Trans Am paddock. Anybody that knows Ken Thwaites, instantly you gravitate towards the man. He has that aura about him. So yeah, we're all rooting for Ken Thwaites, and he wants his first Trans Am victory, and I think he can get it. I really do. He's a smart racer. He brings this thing home. He is always right there, and I always say that. You have to be consistent. Once you're consistent top fives, you'll be on the podium. Consistent podiums will lead to a win, and he's clicked off those boxes. So I'm looking forward to the season that he's had, and again, you want to talk about just a wonderfully helpful person to be around, and I can see why it's been a really good marriage between him and Justin Marks, as the personalities match up really well.
Yeah, and of course Franklin Road is his apparel shop, so hence the onboard Franklin Road that we're watching at the moment. Ken Thwaites basing that in Nashville. That's where he's based, and he's got a great career path. I love it. If I had to go back and do it all again, I'd follow Ken Thwaites' path, because what he did was he started racing as a kid with his dad, went to all the races, got the bug, did some karting, then got grown up and realized that it was quite expensive, so he went and built a business, built it up, took 10 years away, as Pentarik gets past Ruman as well. So it's all going on because Dreesy, Ruman and Pentarik now going at it, and now there's a change for third place as David Pentarik goes up to third. So yeah, just to finish off with Thwaites, so he took 10 years off a sabbatical, and now he's back racing again.
Absolutely, and you said it. And look at Amy; she's right back on the attack, poking her nose in on David Pentarik, but he's not going to have any part of that in this fight for the podium. And you see Tommy Dreesy poked his nose in there, and he's got those 4 fresh Pirelli P0s on, so you know that he's sitting there just kind of licking his chops and ready to make the move. Again, here it's very challenging in this part of the area to make a pass without actually kind of forcing the issue. So he'll play his cards right and make sure he makes it nice and smooth there. But this is really good racing going on. And I'm talking to David Pentarik on the grid just before the race. This was the battle he was excited about. He goes, you know, we have our own race going on here between myself and Amy and Tommy and Ken. And he goes, I'm really excited to get that battle going on. And if you watch the timing sheets throughout the weekend, that really does hold true. So this is going to be some good fun racing here mid-pack for us to watch throughout the day.
But David Pentarik doing a good job in this previous lap, just pulling away from Ruman and Dreesy. So it's going to be interesting to see if they can keep with him, because Ruman is struggling at the moment anyway to stay on the same pace as Pentarik, and now she's going to come into the clutches of Tommy Dreesy. But this is great. From over ahead, you can see how much he's pulled away as they come into 13 again and into the final complex.
Yeah, exactly. He's definitely got the pace right now, and he's set up for the long run, and that's what you have to do. You have to kind of get that in, and so he settled into his race car, found out what he had. I'm sure played around with the bars a little bit, talked to the crew, and started to dial that thing in, and is deep into that top 3. And again, he's just another one of those, just like Justin Marks there in 7th place, waiting out and hope for a caution. As you see Ken Thwaites coming in the picture right there in the back, he's just loving that they're up there fighting, because they're going to bring this battle right back to him.
Yeah, talking to Ken Thwaites, Marks is now up to 7th. He's managed to get past all the other categories, and now he's going in pursuit of his fellow TA man, Ken Thwaites. But he's 20 seconds or so off the pace, or in terms of off Ken Thwaites' position, so he's got a lot of work to do. But it's all going on here. We're watching a great battle here between Tommy Dreesy and Amy Ruman, and they're starting to slowly catch up with David Pentarik, who got ahead of both of them. And this is good, like you say, their own battle at the moment. Pentarik leading it. Clouds in the distance, but no rain expected. So it's Dyson who leads at the moment. Crandall leading in XGT, and Saunders still leading in SGT. Attaway in GT. now. Where does Tommy make up the time, I wonder? Adam, you've been in this situation. What do you do to push on now if you were Tommy?
I feel like he's looking to pick up some crumbs, and he sees a fight going on in front of him, and he sees it maybe ending in tears for them and ending in a hero for him. So I believe that's where he's at. What's kind of fun to look at here is there's been a lot of buzz around the TA series and this class of racing in particular, the Trans Am series. What we have here is David Pateric's in Ave Riley chassis, that new Ave Riley chassis, number 001. He had the first one of those. Amy Ruben is in, arguably, I think not even arguably, it is the oldest chassis in the field there, and that's an old Ave chassis as well from the previous generation with some modern upgrades. Don't get me wrong, like it's not sitting there like a dust off a shelf. This is all respect, but that's just off of Bob. Bob tells me this, that it's got the upgrades, but again, it's the chassis has been worked over a lot of years. And then you have Tommy Dreese. He's in that GT301, that brand new chassis coming out of the GT3 Works team led by Paul Gentilozzi.
Yeah, chassis don't get a lot of love in terms of talking on commentary because obviously we're looking at the outside of the car at all times, but you've driven a lot of different cars in your time in Trans Am. What difference do the chassis make, and how much of a difference can they make?
They all have their own wonderful character, and that's what you love about them, right? I've had the blessing to drive 3 different chassis in this particular class, in the Trans Am class. One is built by Blaze Saida, which you see him running Misha Goikhberg and Barry Bowes in the TA2 series. He's an excellent chassis builder, and what a brilliant chassis he owns, honestly, and he builds. So that's been a good one.
Now we've had a change also in our SGT battle as Ricky Sanders has got past Lee Saunders up to 9th place overall and leading now in SGT. So Crandall's still leading in XGT, but that's a great move for Sanders, who's got ahead, and Pateric now under pressure.
And then also to finish the other 2 that I've driven was I've driven the Pancho Weaver car, which we won at COTA in, and it's a wonderfully nimble car because he builds the lightest car on the grid. And then I drove the Meissen car, 2 weeks ago at Sebring for the first time. And Mark Meissen built a brilliant race car, obviously, taking it to P2, and all the wins that Matthew Brabham has had in that car, and all the wins Ernie Francis Jr. had in a Meissen design. So definitely everyone builds great race cars in this class of racing, and it comes down to that communication between driver and crew. And you don't get a better communication than really between Amy and Bob Ruman.
And here's our first look at Matt Crandall, who is leading for Avantgarde in his Ford Mustang. It looks like a TA car, but it's actually racing in XGT, and that's funnily enough, talking to Ken Thwaites, he was the first winner of the XGT Championship a few years ago, and now we're allowing these sort of cars to come in, and Crandall taking full advantage of it and pulling away, doing a good job.
It's really an interesting car, right? It's really like a TA2 chassis with a TA2 body, really, and then it has a TA rear wing on it. Has some dive planes, canards on the front for extra downforce. Has some TA underpinnings, like big wheels too, 18-inch wheels. And then it has, I believe, a lot more horsepower. I didn't ever get out there to actually check it out, but than a TA2 car. But it looks like a very fun car to drive. I'd be really interested to see what could happen with that. Could that class grow into something and into something new? It looked like they had 2 cars that were just kind of sitting there waiting for somebody to put a bid on to go out there and drive them this weekend. So I believe there would be seats open for the future if anyone would be looking.
Yeah, this XGT class is very much a catch-all too. When Thwaites won his championship, he did that in an Audi R8. And now you've got these sorts of cars, as you say, very similar to a TA2, but with a bit more horsepower. Now, talking of horsepower, here comes Marks. He's in 7th at the moment, trying to chase down Ken Thwaites, the man we've been talking about, into the Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers Turn 1.
Yeah,
and the car looks fine.
Oh, the car is perfectly fine. He is in there. He was, I guarantee you, because all those drivers would be the same way. You're fuming. You're upset. You had a rough first lap, and especially when you have the potential that he knows he has to go win this race. I mean, he's sitting out there turning, lap times every bit as fast as your leaders. His best time is a 1:37.4. He was doing that very early on to the 137 3s and 4s that Matt and Chris Dyson were doing. And now he's doing a 138 flats, and that's with Chris Dyson doing 139 2s up in the lead. So he's definitely controlling as we look at what happened on the GT class here.
Well, what do you think is happening here? This is Mike Attaway, the only member of the GTs at the moment, but he's in the pits. They're taping something up. What do you reckon he's gone loose?
It looked like it's a hot day, and he wants his cool suit to work properly.
Maybe
that
so,
looks like
yeah.
to me. So, these cars are incredibly hot. I cannot stress. Basically, at home, the best way to do this, if you want to know cars in a place like Louisiana, you go ahead and put on your snowsuit, go ahead and get in your car in the summertime, turn on the heat, and drive around for an hour. And now you know what it's like inside a Trans Am car in any of these classes.
That's a good analogy. I like it.
So,
this is Milton Grant, one of the many Grants. You raced against Keith Grant the other week.
What a fabulous family. Definitely a Trans Am family, and they bring it. You know, they always got entries here. They're always out there putting out their absolute. And the race with Keith was awesome. He's fun to race with. He's a clean racer. He's got speed. You know, so I can't wait to have him back. He took the weekend off to go do, I believe, some SCCA national stuff, and all my hats off to him. I believe he was leading that race up until they had an engine failure. So he's definitely putting in the miles. He wants to come out here and even take this competition level, I believe, up a notch in the TA class.
Good for him. Well, I'm watching also as we watch Milton Grant go through his paces, third place at the moment in SGT in that Porsche. But I'm also keeping a watchful eye on Justin Marks, who's just done a 137.4, and he's on the same pace as we go back to Lee Saunders, leading in SGT. But at the moment, Marks is some 3 seconds quicker than the man in front of him, Ken Thwaites, and he's on the same pace as Chris Dyson and Matthew Brabham.
Yeah, and I mean, just as I say that, it's like Chris Dyson and Matthew Brabham have us mic'd into their earpieces because they just went off and cracked off 2 laps.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Just went ahead and said, hey, I'll show you guys in the booth. We're just going to go ahead and show you we're not just up here controlling this race. We got our hammer down, and because that's honestly the worst thing you could do as a driver is be told to change your pace, because that's when you make mistakes. That's when you miss a shift. That's when you do something that could just take you out of the game. So you go out there and you keep up that average speed. I mean, the average speed around here, think of this, folks at home, lap average over 100 miles an hour. That's absolutely incredible pace.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that's one of the reasons I get so excited in the commentary booth is because, often when you watch it on TV, it belies the kind of speeds and how risky it is out there each and every day. So, yeah, forgive me for getting excited, but I do kind of know what's going on out there because I've been inside some of these cars, not racing them, but I know how fast you're actually going and how much of a knife edge you're on.
Jonathan, you're forgiven. Your excitement is infectious. I got to tell you, my dad and I woke up to you for many, many years in World Superbike coverage, and it's a blessing to have you here in the Trans Am Series calling our races because you bring a wonderful insight, and we do. We have great racing here, and just like this GT car right here, the number 18 of Ricky Sanders. This was a heck of a battle here, not a few laps ago, as you got Ken Thwaites. Justin Marks coming up right behind it, and he's coming up on his teammate Ken Thwaites, and that will be for position, and I'm sure there will not be, it'll be an Olay for Ken Thwaites. He's going to make sure that Justin gets through without hindrance to any of his laps. Justin Marks right now is sitting 15 seconds behind the leader, so
look how quickly he's making hay of this.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely, when he recovered, remember, I said he was 36 seconds behind the leader. Yep. He has made up 21 seconds on the leader, Jonathan Green and folks at home. This is huge. This is a guy that is not giving up on this race, so we should not give up on Justin Marks.
No, on board with Ken Thwaites, down past the start-finish. He's got his teammate, Justin Marks, right behind now and closing in, and it'll only be a matter of less than a lap, I would have thought, before Marks does make the move. It possibly could be as early as turn 3 at the Bridge Hall turn. And Mark's doing a very good job of recovering and keeping his composure here, because that's the hard part when you made a mistake. Because it was nobody else involved. He just went and hit the grass slightly, and that threw him to the other side of the circuit. And through does go Marks, and as predicted, at turn 3. So there you go. Now into turn 4.
And you don't have to be far offline, Jonathan Green, either here. If he was even a little bit offline in that braking zone, it's so greasy here. because of the environment. As we're on board with Ken Schwaitz and the Franklin Road Apparel Chevrolet Camaro, that right there is, I mean, there's so many factors. I can't wait to hopefully talk to Justin afterwards to get a little bit more insight into maybe what went wrong there, what he felt, because it was an innocent move. He wasn't overdriving the corner, I don't feel, but that was his second lockup in that lap under hard braking zone. So I just want to know what he felt was going on right there, because I also don't feel like his contact with Matthew Bradman at the beginning of the race was intentional by any means necessary. He just couldn't get the car rolled down, as he had another puff of smoke in a lockup right here.
Yeah, just locked up into the 13, did Marks, but that's because he's pushing on. You can see how much time he's made up already as he's got past now Ken Schwaitz, and he's off in the distance. So now he's after this battle, which has Dreesy at the back of it, and there is Marks coming onto the same straight. So now he can see the target. Pitarik still holding off Ruman. Lucas... Number 8 of Tommy Dreesy from Hollywood in California.
Yeah, the podium is not out of touch. The podium is not out of touch here for Justin Marks, who we were just talking about. So this is definitely very realistic, as you're pointing out, Jonathan Green, because they're fighting up here. They're still battling up here for this last podium spot. And as long as they're battling, they're sacrificing some lap time.
Yeah, there's no question. Dreesy did a 139.9 last time, 141 by Amy Ruman, and Marks is clicking in the 137s. So he's going to be on them very soon indeed.
And excuse me, I must have had a glitch on my timing and scoring. He did not gain that much time, Justin. Actually, he's lost 11 seconds to the leader since he recovered. He's at 47 seconds behind the leader, but he is only, it looks like only about 8 seconds behind this group right here, and he's lapping, as you just mentioned, about 6 seconds a lap faster. So he's going to be in this fight soon.
And as you can see, this race starting to hot up now with 16 laps gone, as Justin Marks is catching and catching fast. Now back with Tommy Dreesy on board, and you can see the maelstrom that he's up against. They won't be thinking about Justin Marks, but they might have to in a few seconds' time, because Dreesy's got his hands full just trying to stay with Ruman at the moment. This is a really, really good battle, isn't it?
It's been a great battle. This is some classic, Trans Am mid-2015 battle right here coming at us, and then we're living it here in 2023 for this podium spot. You got David Pitarik in the Kreider Racing Ford Mustang, and you got Amy just either peeking or protecting one or the other, but Justin Marks lurking in the background, waiting to pounce on these, just charging to pounce on these three right here. Once he clears these three again, he's going to go ahead and break out the prayers to above and try and get that caution so he could take this fight to the top two, because what could have been, 2 days in a row, what could have been for us, Jonathan Green, had the pole sitter not had their issues. Seemed like we've been cursed the last 2 days, as the pole sitters have been in our Trans Am events.
Well, of course, Justin Marks has wanted to hang around for this season, so we're really looking forward to seeing what he can do, but it's going to be interesting to see how many races, and if he actually goes for a championship title chase, as we go back on board with Tommy Dreesy.
And that's what you have so much respect too for, is he's taking those time off, right, from those Cup weekends. That's a huge commitment. Not only it's a huge commitment to the Cup Series to do what he's doing, but it's a huge commitment to take a break from that and say that. And really, he uses this weekend. This is like Zen time. It's great to clear the mind, and I'm sure it even help. He sees it help with his business. Some good stuff there. The Audi did a very good job. Attaway did a very good job of signaling with this turn signal. Where Lee Saunders off, of course.
Saunders. So Lee Saunders parks it up, and that's just happened out of nowhere, and we don't know why yet. We'll try to find out what happened to Lee Saunders, but of course he was leading in SGT, and now Milton Grant will pick up that lead. Sanders will pick up that lead from, Justin Marks coming in on Dreesy as well into turn one, so it's all happening at once here. Saunders is out. Justin Marks has caught this battle, this three-way battle at the front in TA.
Yeah, and depending on where Lee Saunders is that going to give us a caution? And man, David Pitarik taking a very wide line there, opening the door for Amy Ruman, shuts it right back down. He's very wide again. You can't get offline here. It just picks up the garbage on the tire. Amy Ruman back in the P3 position in her McNichols Chevrolet Corvette. Tommy Dreesy capitalizes and takes P4 away from David Paterick. Is Justin Marks
you've got to think
the
there's
same?
a problem for Paterick.
I believe David. Yeah, I believe he was missing those marks because, like you said, he's having an issue. So, could it be a power steering failure? Could it be something along those lines, or maybe just garbage on the tires for being wide? But it looks like he's off pace completely, David Paterick, because we're back on board with Justin Marks, sitting in P5 right now.
Yeah, now he's going to eye up, and I'll put you in his position. How does he go past Tommy Greasy?
Right here, right now. You got to go. And
there you go.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's why I got you.
Oh, I thought you were setting me up for that, Jonathan. That was like an underhand pitch with a beach ball. I had to take a swing at that one.
But that was a classic overtake here at NOLA. Two real main overtaking into turn 1 and turn 13.
Boy, Amy is getting drive off that last corner. Really, really good drive down the straightaway. Justin Marks, he's going to have to fight hard for this last podium spot. Amy Ruman is not going to lay over. Remember, she's a two-time champ. She is also the last and the only person in this field to win the TA race here at NOLA Motorsports Park.
Yeah, back in 2015, 16?
Yeah, I believe so, yeah. So Justin's got his hand, fight cut out in front of him. Amy's sitting there doing a nice job, being very defensive, showing not really an obvious place to go. But I tell you, I think Justin's going to buy his time through the S's and make that dive bomb move, just like he did, that textbook move for this last podium spot into turn 13. Great onboard shots here.
The battle for third then, Corvette versus Trackhouse TA. Amy Ruman doing every which way to try and stop him.
So he's going to keep it nice and tight. He's going to keep it nice and tight through the S's here, make sure that he gets a good run off of the last one. Sacrifice a little bit at the beginning, just like he did there. He's going to be full on power. He's going to go to power early. Right here, he's going to get this run. You're going to see this dive right down here. He knows he's got it real dialed in. No, he's not. He's going to stay as Amy gets great drive, great braking into turn 13. Amy Ruman, again, showing everyone what it means to be a two-time champion in the Trans Am Series.
Yeah, she's hanging on though, because Justin is surely going to try and make a move now, and he's close enough now surely to dive at turn 1. He's got good drag, got good drive, onto the main straight, and surely he's going to have a go at turn 1.
Yeah, she's been getting great drive down the straightaway. The Corvette is very slippery. That is a huge advantage to it. When you get it onto a long straightaway, it's a very slippery car. Justin goes hard on the brakes. Is Amy going to over-under? Don't believe she's going to have the chance. Justin Marks gets the spot for the last podium. Amazing drive, given what he experienced on the first lap, to drop all the way to the tail, come back through the field to salvage himself back onto the podium spot. Again, he's looking for somebody to drop something on the track maybe and bring out a caution, but that gap to shut down, as he is now going to be about 49 seconds to 50 seconds behind our leaders of Chris Dyson, the two-time champ and reigning champion, and Matthew Brabham, the absolute phenom that we have here in the TA Series.
Well, the irony is, it's only lap 19 of 37, and while 49 seconds is almost an impossibility as they weave their way through, Marks is up there in third place, but, 49 seconds to catch, pretty darn hard. But one safety car could change all of that.
Yeah, that's what does it, right? I mean, you never know. These Trans Am races are 100 miles for a reason, because that's the perfect distance to really see some intangibles come into line here. So these cars, they're not bulletproof, right? They're sensitive race cars when it comes down to it. You have to take care of them. This is a bumpy surface. This is not an absolute easy track on a race car. So you're over the curbs a lot. You beat the car up a lot here. So this is not a given for CD Racing. But I can guarantee you that Chris Dyson, the experience he has, Matthew Brabham, again, they're gonna do what professionals have to do to bring these race cars home. So really, really good driving here. That Ave Riley of Chris Dyson is looking fantastic as it's coming through the S's.
Yeah, the car looks absolutely on rails at the moment. And he's actually pulling away from Brabham. The gap 2.1 seconds. So he's maintaining that. He's got another sensor. We saw that in one of the cars yesterday, but flapping about.
But, you want to know why? You want to know how intense it is in Trans Am? That Velcro will hold in every other series on the planet. But in the Trans Am series, the forces are so big that they just can't hang on. We have to come up with our own special Trans Am Velcro to get these things tied down, I think, Jonathan Green.
That's hilarious. Brilliant. Well, there you see the gap physically between the first and second man, and in a moment we'll hopefully see Justin Marks approach, but he's still quite some distance yet, and 21 laps of the 37 gone. This is round 2. Matthew Brabham, our championship leader. You're looking at him now in the number 20 Dyson Racing car. Dustin flying up there. I hope there's no problem. And
So whatever was going on with David Paterick has not been a critical issue that's put him out of the race, but has certainly affected his race in a great way. So this could be he's down a cylinder. It could be anything. Like it could be, again, a power steering failure or something else going on. But it's just a shame to see that. He had such a strong run going up there, being in the podium position.
Dyson's car sounds great.
Oh,
Now,
no.
there's damage now to Tommy Dreese's car. I did see some dust and smoke fly up a moment ago, and it looks as though Dreese's has got a problem.
Yeah, and I hope that didn't include Amy Ruman on the other side, because I haven't seen Amy since. So,
well, these two have a history.
Yeah, they do, and I'm not trying to pick on that at all. I'm just Amy has dropped down behind Dreese now on the timing and scoring. So, it's and you said you saw the puffs of smoke, Jonathan Green. I trust your eyeballs as much as anybody. So, I didn't catch that myself, and I hate to speculate here, but I hope we can find a replay or maybe find out what exactly happened here, because that's front end damage pretty heavy on that Ford Mustang and Tommy Dreese.
Well, it doesn't look pretty, that's for sure. But we'll see if he does come in. I know that our pit reporter Ben has been telling us that the team are preparing for him potentially to come in because they've seen what's happened.
Yeah, the car was crabbing a little bit, actually. It wasn't tracking straight when he came around the carousel there. So, yeah, they're bringing the car to the pit. So this is going to be a possible end of the day for Tommy Dreese, not the way they wanted that to go down. It's great to see Lucas Oil behind both sides of the series in TA2. He did hit Tammy from behind. That is the report we're getting in. So the stewards will take a very stern look at that, and that's a shame. Amy had such a great race going, and as you pointed out, Jonathan Green, it's not like they don't have the history.
Now, Matt Crandall coming into the pits, and this is important too because he is leading in XGT. And, well, let's take a look. I'm going to let your eagle eye go across this one because it's hard to judge. Like you said, there's a bit of history between these two, but how do you see this?
So there's traffic ahead. So traffic, we'll see what role that plays, if it's a little bit of an accordion effect here. But looks like Amy's diving in, getting down, and Tommy just misjudged it. There was nothing malicious there. Tommy just really misjudged. Couldn't see there, and I mean that stinks because it's going to come down on Tommy, right? The stewards are going to come down on him. That's avoidable contact. But when we talk about the history between these two, I'm not looking at that as malicious. So again, I hate it for Amy Ruman. That's horrible, and it really puts a big mark on both their races, and that's just a darn shame.
So then, Tommy Dreese in problems. You can see now why there was a little to-do between the pair of them, and that was probably the lock-up and the smoke that I saw. And Ken Thwaites now all over the back of Dreese, who is struggling, to say the least. He'll probably stay, if I know Tommy, he'll stay out as long as he can.
Well, they're calling him in. He's just saying, man, I don't know. I think I can do this. And that's Tommy Dreese's kind of attitude. But you can see the car is crabbing. It's not wanting to do what a race car should do, and that's track straight. So there's a toe link or something that has taken damage. And he definitely needs to pit this thing before it actually does something even more detrimental to a tire and do more damage to the car. As you can see, he can barely hang on to this thing. And so it's time to bring it in, Tommy Dreese, and let that 3GT crew put some attention to it and see if your day is over or not.
So he's coming up to Mission Foods turn 13. Let's see if he does jink left and into the pits. Like you say, you can see the crabbing for yourself now.
No, he's going to
stay staying out there. He's staying out there. That's Tommy. Hollywood Tommy.
Hollywood Tommy.
Well, you see, he's got the MAV TV on the front there. He wants to get all the exposure he can.
Right. So you can see the crew chief right there is, I'm sure, trying to get his attention in any way possible. And I gotta tell you, there are some innocent ways. Sometimes I can tell you my earpieces have come unplugged because they caught on the seatbelt, you know, and on a real bumpy track like this.
It sounds like the dictionary of excuses you've got there in the back of the motorhome. Do you? Is there a book for racing drivers to say, "Oh, I didn't hear you"?
I just got to be consistent, and as long as you're consistent with what you got. Yeah. But no, it does happen, and so he may be suffering from that. He may be wondering why no one's talking to him on the radio.
Well, he likes to talk, this Tommy, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, no, the push to talk button I think is on the palm of his hand instead of on the thumb.
Yeah,
you know, that way he can just squeeze the steering wheel and talk.
Yeah.
But
we talk to him in a lot of races.
Yeah, no, I tease because if you have a scanner, that's probably the most interesting radio channel to capture on any Trans Am weekend.
Oh yeah, he's a great character, Tommy, but unfortunately, coming together with Amy Ruman has made him a bit of a slow car out there, and he's crabbing his way to try and finish this race, but with 24 of the 37, he's got a lot of laps to go as we go back to the Bridge Hall number 18 of Ricky Sanders, leading in SGT.
And you also have the 44 of Lee Saunders. He was out with overheating issues in that Viper, so this hot day took its toll on that Dodge Viper. And as you can see now, right, you know, Panteric is back in the top 5 as he soldiers on to fight, but you're going to see Ken Thwaites come into this battle as he gets around Sanders right now as he put a lap down on that individual. It's also, as you see Chris Dyson coming around the last turn to start lapping up to that top 5, so he is definitely setting down an incredible pace. Back to Chris Evans in this XGT class. That nose was black at one point throughout the weekend. You cannot really have an off-course excursion here at any point at NOLA Motorsports Park, and Chris Evans found that out the hard way, because what happens, you go into a little bit divots, right? You start Baja, and then Splitter digs in at some point and just really wants to rip itself off, and he had that problem at one point during one of the practices, I believe, but they fit a beautiful new nose on there, got it down, and he's out there winning in XGT and running 8th overall. So a good day for that individual. They're going to be happy if they can hang on for the last 12 laps for this result.
Yeah, and the reason we're watching Evans is he's now got the lead in XGT. Cracknell making that pit stop, so he's just got to keep it all together now as Chris Evans.
You know, that's right. And Chris Dyson and Matthew Brabham, this has been quite a separation. Chris is finding his way inside that new Ave Riley chassis. This is really, truly a good 100 miles. He hasn't got a lot of 100-mile races on this Ave Riley. You know, obviously Matthew won on it in Sebring. Now it looks like, you know, Chris poised to do the same. He's pulling away from Matthew, 3.6-second gap as he comes up on the lap Tommy Dreese here. This is going to be an important calculated move, I can assure you that, as this is... Justin Marks, too, is, you know, right there. He's again 47 seconds behind, so it seems to me like he went ahead and backed off just in case this thing did go yellow, that maybe he would have something to fight these top 2 with, but that kind of time is running out.
Yeah, he's got the fastest lap at 37.2, but he kind of hit the wall a little bit because Brabham and Dyson are doing 37.3, so if he's making any time, it's a 10th here and there. As finally Dyson now lapping Tommy Dreese. Dreese keeping out of the way and making sure he doesn't get in Dyson's way. And that's the only real worry for Chris Dyson now. He does not want to get involved in another car and make a mistake because of it. I've seen it happen before in Trans Am to Dyson as well. But he's been cruising around with a strong lead and then suddenly, whoops.
Absolutely. I mean, these races that's why you do 100 miles. I'll say it over and over again, folks, because you just never know. These races can deal you anything all the way up to the last lap. At Sebring, I was starting to have a misfire with 4 laps to go because the ignition box is getting very hot. So at that point, you know, I always thought my race was coming to an end possibly. You know, we were definitely trying to diagnose it back and forth to this wonderful crew at CD Racing, and you know, we brought that thing home and come to find out that we're glad we didn't park it, because that would have cost us that. And Amy finally get to see her circulate, so it's good to see.
So no major damage to her car then?
Well, you know, no major damage.
A little bit on the rear right.
Yeah, you're going to have some rear bodywork damage, which doesn't help the efficiency of how the air exits the car, so that does help. That doesn't help the handling at all, but nonetheless, again, for such a strong day that was going, running in the podium position for a very long portion of this race, only to have that taken down by a misjudgment. So hate to see that.
So the Corvette now down in 7th overall. Amy Ruman behind Dreesy, but not for long, I don't think, because she's going to catch him up.
Yeah, and this is the thing, right? This is where drama can come. Amy's coming back, and I don't think Amy has that in her. She's a professional, and I know she's seeing a brighter shade of red than the red that's painted on that car or even on those fingernails of hers. So she's going to want to make sure that she keeps it calm, and I'm sure Bob is on the radio with her and her father, and just reminding her the big picture, and that she can get around Tommy here clean, and trust me, outracing someone's a bigger punishment than doing anything else to somebody.
Well, you're watching Trans Am from NOLA. That's New Orleans, for those who don't know, but NOLA just outside the city of New Orleans here in Louisiana. Jonathan Green and Adam Andretti bringing you the action from round 2 of the Trans Am Series. And next up in a couple of weeks, we head to the mighty Road Atlanta. Looking forward to that great circuit as always, and one of the classics here in the Trans Am Series, as are all of them really. First time we've been back to NOLA for a few years, but we've got some iconic circuits to come, including Watkins Glen, Road America, Mid-Ohio, and of course the West Coast Run. And we'll end up at COTA at the end of the year. So a lot of racing still to come from this championship, and Justin Marks, the man you're looking at right now, in 3rd position, hopefully will play a big role in that. He's had a bit of a to-do though on the first lap in the action here. He got overtaken at the start of the race as we focus in on Michael Attaway in the GT. The only lone Audi out there with the lights on.
Yeah, he's 3 laps down. Again, they had that issue in the pits. I'm speculating that had something to do with the cool shirt, driver comfort area, maybe. But I could be wrong. It could have been something completely different and something more detrimental. So, but he's back out there and putting in the laps, going to get away here probably with an 11th overall if everything goes as planned here for the rest of the day. And what I see up front too is Chris Dyson parked it. He saw that, he parked it as far as in qualifying is what I'm referring to yesterday. And he did his 3 laps. He knew that the money lap was on lap 3. He wasn't going to get anything more, and that it was more important to have tires for 100 miles here. And I believe what I said earlier about Matthew Brabham and how long he spent yesterday qualifying on those tires. And now over the last 5 laps, we've definitely seen the gap grow between the leaders. Ken Twaits does a good job getting out of the way, sees Chris Dyson at the last minute, gets out of the way of the leader right there. That's a very professional move by Ken Twaits.
Let me ask you a question. I saw Dyson's 16 go out and do some extra laps yesterday. What would that have been for?
When was that?
He just went out on his own. Oh, it was a wet session.
It was a wet session. He's the only one that chose to go out.
That's
he had not been out in the new Riley chassis and the Ave Riley chassis in the wet conditions, so they wanted to get some data. For
smart move.
Yeah, for a lot of different things, right? It's not one of those things that you could turn a faucet on and you get it, right? So when you get it and you can collect some data on the race car, you're going to try and do that because you never know when you're going to run into weather. We race rain or shine in the Trans Am Series.
Absolutely. So Chris Dyson making his way. The gap, though, as he's been through traffic, has come down from 4 seconds to 2 seconds on Brabham. Brabham dealing with the traffic a little bit better than Dyson has so far. I don't think we're going to have the grandstand finish that perhaps we might want, but either way, it's going to be another 1-2 for Dyson Racing. Dyson wasn't involved in that last time. The man alongside me was, as Adam Andretti and Matthew Brabham took victory last time out at Sebring. But so far, Dyson has looked picture perfect. It was a little bit dicey if you ever want to see G-Force in action. I love the fact that the sensor's falling off. You can really see, you can actually see G-Force,
Oh, yeah, the G-bubble down here in the V-Box screen. It's a wonderful screen down here, folks.
Yeah, but I'm looking at the sensor.
Yeah, I know, and what's amazing is we're still getting the right data here down at the bottom. But you have the track map at the bottom right, which gives you position of where they're at as you're coming around the last corner here to shoot down the long straightaway. The class of vehicle, obviously, you have your G-bubble. Look at how the acceleration is on that, but I know it's easy to get caught up in just what's going on the racetrack when we're on those wonderful onboard shots brought to you by Greenlight TV. It's a whole nother thing when you can actually like diagnose it and see the revs and the speed.
Oh yeah.
I mean they're entering the S's at 150 miles an hour and still maintaining 100 mile an hour through these S's. That's incredible, folks, at home. The load that's going through these Pirelli P0s is absolutely amazing. And great onboard shots with Justin Marks in the Trackhouse Chevrolet Camaro, brought to you by Showtime Motorsports.
Yeah, Justin Marks almost doing qualifying laps here just to keep the concentration going, because he's never going to catch that 45 seconds up. But the hope is, of course, that some sort of caution could come out, and that could change this race completely. Not will it be a simple race at all. It'll become very complicated after that.
And this late in the game, too, I mean, you would honestly, because of how long it takes for a track to get recovered, you would probably need that to happen in the next couple laps. If it doesn't, we'd probably end that thing under caution, unfortunately, because of, it just takes time. It's a long, vast racetrack, and track cleanup here is not the easiest thing. So, honestly, he's taken his medicine today, and Justin, like I said, he's mature and humble.
We're on lap 30 of 37 here at NOLA Motorsport Park, and it's been pretty much a big easy, as the city is called, down the road for Chris Dyson so far. He had a bit of a to-do at the start of the race when this man, Justin Marks, who was on pole, got overtaken by Matthew Brabham. Brabham took the lead briefly. Dyson was there with him. They jostled for position, and then Trackhouse man hit the back of Brabham, and then just a few corners later went off himself on his own through the S's, and since then has been working like a dog to try to fight his way back into contention. He's done an excellent job, and he's made it all the way up to third place, but still some 44 seconds off the leaders Brabham and Dyson at the moment. So it could well be another Dyson Racing 1-2.
Yeah, very well could be. There's still quite a bit of racing left here, and anything can happen. So want to make sure that we're well aware of that, but also, it's been a great day for these three racers. If this is a bad day for Justin Marks, then he could chalk that up as being pretty darn good, right? Because you walk out of here with some third place points. You guys both walked out of there pretty even at Sebring between him and Chris Dyson. Those are if you're wondering, if folks at home, that's really the two big protagonists we have for this championship, as they're the ones that committed for the full season to go at this thing. They called each other out for that too. Justin has said that he wants to, everybody wants to unleash, and take out the standing champion. And that is, of course, Chris Dyson. And Justin Marks, wants to do that. And Chris Dyson isn't going to take lightly to that, right? He wants to defend that title and make sure he's a three-peat and makes Trans Am history. And he's doing a really good job here today, leading at another lap around NOLA Motorsports Park.
Yeah, I wonder if people in the motor racing industry watch Trans Am and just wonder what it would be like to have a crack at it, because it is an intriguing car. I know you've loved it for many years, but when you see the likes of Justin Marks, who's got a fair bit of racing under his belt, and Matthew Brabham likewise, but mostly single-seated and truck racing of all things. But when it attracts these sorts of characters, and each and every weekend they want to come back and do more, as you do yourself, it just shows there is something quite magic about racing these cars.
Oh, without a doubt. Absolutely. Talking to Justin last night, he goes, and Boris said is the biggest advocate. He said back in 2006 when he was driving a BMW, teammates with Boris in IMSA,
yep,
in the endurance racing stuff, Boris goes, "Hey kid, you just wait until you get your hands on one of the Trans Am cars one day, because you're going to have to do that one day." And that was now you're looking at a long time ago, and long before this modern era. And Matthew Brabham just hanging it out. I mean, you want to talk about, you get to watch this kid live, this is a gift. This is a gift to be given in motorsports, to watch a man of his talent drive a race car and get around a racetrack the way he does. It's absolutely breathtaking. I love it. I love learning from the guy, and he's wonderful to be around.
Just have a quick look, though, at the back of his car. Next time we see the rear of Matthew Brabham's car, I saw a puff of smoke a moment ago. It could be just the mixture. But you see for yourself. What do you think?
Yeah, he does have a little bit of smoke there coming. It could just be from the overflow of the rear end. The rear end gets hot. The rear end fluid will get a little foamy. That'll get into the overflow. So maybe that overflow is leaking onto a hot part of the car. causing a little bit of smoke. But if he was laying anything down or if there's anything like that, the steward should be on top of that and they'd be calling to his attention. Looks like Amy Ruman has gotten around Tommy Greasy.
Yeah.
It looks like that was done with no drama, as I kind of predicted it would be, because Amy is a consummate professional, and she's got a very high moral compass, and she wants to go right by things. And again, I don't think that was a malicious act, but I'm sure Amy, in the heat of the moment, when she sees that blue car with the damage up front and she was turned sideways, I'm sure she wasn't feeling that way. She doesn't get the view that we get. So I'm sure Tommy will go over there and apologize, but they're still wanting to come in. You can see the 3GT crew here.
Yeah, I've forgotten that they asked them to come in about 15 laps ago.
Yeah,
They've given up. They've given up. They're going home.
On board with
you're on your own.
The Lucas Oil Ford Mustang.
Well, he's
here.
done a good job as Tommy, actually, because the team wanted it in. Interesting what Paul Gentilozzi would think, but points are points, and he's still in the hunt very much. 7th overall. These can count back in a few weekends' time.
Yeah, I mean, this is not, again, how they wanted their race to go down at all. And you have those. This is racing. This is why we do it. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it. We always hear that adage. So it's a wonderful sport. That's why we love it. That's why we keep coming back, because it gives us this opportunity to test our own, our own strengths, our own personalities, and to see if we have what it takes. And Ken Thwaites pulling out another top 5.
And also chasing down Pintarik ahead of him. So still time with 34 to 37 gone. 4 Thwaites to make up from 5th to 4th. You can see Pintarik just ahead of him. The car you're looking at between them, that's Milton Grant. He is in this battle with them. But look, here comes Ken Thwaites.
And I tell you, this is when Ken this is when the race comes to him. He is the long game player. I tell him that all the time. I was like, Ken, I remind him, Ken, you remember your game, because you're the long game. You're the long ball. You're going to go out there, you're going to wear him down, and before you know it, you'll be either right on that podium or right off of it. So, and that's what he's done today. He's been methodical. He has kept his nose clean, and look at him. He is right on the tail here of David Pintarik, and he is going to make this a fight for that top 4 spot here with the last few laps to go, Jonathan Green.
So we are going to have a bit of drama. Dreesy finally in. You can see the damage for yourself now. And they're having a look at it, but it's not nice. And they may just get him out there to test whatever they've changed, or at least pulled out body work-wise, or they may just retire him here and now. But so Dreesy comes in from 7th. Thwaites and Pintarik. So Tommy, he's opening the door. I think that's game over for him. But let's take another look, and we'll see it here.
Yeah,
and again, Adam.
Again. So again, the XGT car up here on the high side. Amy in the braking zone here for the next right-hander, and just it was not what Tommy was expecting at that point. So, I truly don't believe that was malicious, but I'm sure what Amy felt at that moment, that I'm sure that's not what her feelings were. But I think she would review this a little bit differently. And again, you're gutted for it all. You're just absolutely gutted for it. I got so much respect for all these drivers out there and what they're doing, and you hate to see anything like that happen. You just want to see the great clean racing, the hard battles, and because that's what everyone's capable of.
Back to the leader then. Dyson leading the way. The gap 3.1 seconds, but it's ebbed and flowed between 4 and 2 seconds over the race. But that's how Dyson wants it. He doesn't need Brabham to take him on. Dyson here for the championship. Brabham here to make a name for himself, which he's already done. And he's some 4 seconds behind. There he is, just popping into view there. But it's going to be Dyson in the Jim Weed, number 16, leading the way as he has done throughout most of this race.
Yeah, taking the number 16, the number his dad made famous, to another victory. I know always means a lot to this man here, Chris Dyson. And I know Rob is watching at home, and when he gets to these races, his presence is always wonderfully felt. And I know he's so proud of this young man and his son here, and what he's done not only on and off, but off the track. And this is just a great example, another generation example of the Dyson family. And he's doing a fabulous job with 36 to 37 in the books here. So we're going to white flag next time by, I believe, Jonathan Green.
Yeah, I think we will. But this sets up Dyson Racing, certainly for the Teams Championship, very well indeed. And it also means that Dyson's back on track for his hunt of defending that title and going for 3 in a row, remember. And that would be really impressive. He comes from a long heritage of racing. His father, Rob, you mentioned a couple of times. And so Chris Dyson, just like the Rumans, it's all about the racing. Every weekend was racing. He used to go to Lime Rock as a little kid. And he'll be looking forward in June to going there again and trying to put on a show in front of his home crowd. And this has been a pretty good show, though, so far. Well done to this man, Chris Dyson.
It has
should get a white
show.
flag next time around.
It has been a great show. He's given this Jim Weed Ford Mustang a heck of a ride here today, and I know that's really the biggest thing he's proud of too is to get log these miles on this new Ave Riley project that they have going on over there at CD Racing. So this is a big confidence builder to go 2 for 2 out of the box with that chassis, because this chassis is the one that did win, take the victory at Sebring International Raceway just a couple weeks ago. So just with Chris's body work on it, and that's the only difference. So he's giving it a heck of a ride as he comes here to see the white flag. Chris Dyson, this is when you hear every noise in the car you never heard before. This is when you think it all could come apart for you, Jonathan Green.
Oh, no kidding.
It's that white flag lap is just. I look the other way, right? I don't even want to see the white flag because it's one of those things where it's almost like it's a superstition.
Well, it's been a dominating performance by Dyson Racing, led by Chris Dyson, and he's just got 2.7 miles to go around this famous NOLA circuit. Perfect conditions for racing. He's kept his head while a few others were losing theirs. A shame for Justin Marks, but Marks will be happy at least to put some points on the board after a disappointing Sebring himself. And he went off at turn 8, or turn 7, exit of at Sebring, and didn't come back, unfortunately.
Yep. 2 days in a row that, what could have been with what happened with the pole sitter. So it's a shame there. And also, as we circulate the last lap, it's a reminder that this is Colorectal Awareness Month.
Yes.
My brother John, unfortunately, passed away from colorectal cancer 3 years ago. He would have been on January 30th. Actually, today marks his 60th birthday. So love you, John. Our heavenly birthday to you. And my nephew, Dylan, turns a teenager today as well. My sister Mary Jo's oldest son, Dylan. So happy birthday to you. He's turned 13 today. And so a special day in our family, but also it's a reminder, get yourself screened and check for Andretti, and if we can help you in any way, please do as we cut to the winner.
So here we go. Chris Dyson on his way to victory. In the end, the gap was 6 seconds, but that's because Brabham decided, you know what, I'll bring it home safe, I'll bring it home clean, and maybe that mixture, all that smoke was maybe causing a bit of a problem. But well done to Chris Dyson. Brabham, though, there he is in the distance, will take the second place. It's another 1-2, back-to-back 1-2s for the Dyson Racing team. That is an immaculate way to start a championship. And in motor racing, yes, we love to see fairing, banging, action, and lots of crashes, but for a race team, what they want to see is 1-2s with no incidents. Justin Marks, well, he had his incidents, but he's going to have third place wrapped up. He's going to finish ahead of Pintarek as he and Thwaites went to battle. I wonder if Pintarek does hold off Thwaites, but here comes Marks all the same, coming into the Mission Foods corner.
It is tight between David Pintarek and Ken Thwaites. I hope we pick up that battle because I think that one's definitely going to come to the line between those two Ave Riley chassis as well. And again, this is going to be an exciting race for that top 5 position. Amy pulls right over. It looks like so that she can go ahead and get whatever taken care of. I don't think her car was perfect mechanically. And then the leaders here getting their cool down laps, celebrating with each other. Really interested in what's going on in that David Pintarek Ken Thwaites battle, but checking out the champ on the cool down lap with the teammate there. It's good stuff. Good stuff.
Yep, and line astern, and one slightly purple, one slightly pink, so that's the only differentiation you can until you can actually see the 16 and the 20, but that is an immaculate performance by those two Dyson Racing cars. So that concludes our coverage of TA. My thanks are always to Adam Andretti. We'll take a short break here from NOLA, and when we come back, we'll see the celebrations on the podium. So then, we just wait for them to come in. I'm interested to see, it was Petarik holding off Thwaites at the end there, so that battle went all the way to the end. But in the end, David Petarik did hold off Ken Thwaites for 4th place. Ken Thwaites taking 5th, Amy Ruman 6th, pulling off quickly there. Chris Evans wins in XGT, and in SGT it was Ricky Sanders who did get the better of Milton Grant in the end. Lee Saunders going out with an overheating problem on that Dodge Viper.
We got the podium we expected, though, Jonathan Green, right?
Yeah,
Chris
guess so.
Dyson,
Yep.
and the CD Racing brings home another one, too. Congratulations to that whole race team. Justin Marks, Gary Seelix and the boys there, and JJ and Gary Jr. and the whole gang. Great job, preparing these 2 race cars at Showtime Motorsports. They made it all 100 miles. Ken Thwaites comes home in another top 5, Mr. Consistency right there. And Justin Marks recovers remarkably after that first lap. Off-course excursion, if you will, doesn't do any damage and just puts in a wonderful drive to the back. It's going to be an exciting weekend at Road Atlanta, Jonathan Green. I can't wait for 2 weeks.
Yep, should be fun. So Ken Thwaites making his way back to the Parc Fermé.
Yeah, he's going to get himself a Victory Lane celebration, I believe. It would be the Masters. He's going to
Yes,
be
that's right.
somewhere.
He is going to win the Masters. Absolutely.
That's fantastic for him. Another great trophy for the case.
So well-earned water for Chris Dyson as he gets a handshake from his engineer as we celebrate with our top 3 in Parc Fermé. Brabham out of the car, Dyson about to do the same, and when Dyson gets out, he will have Ben Sissel to deal with, but he had him to deal with before the race, so he's used to that.
That's Stevie. That's Dixie.
Dixie, yeah,
Dixie's awesome, and the whole gang. There's Scotty and the boys, Dixie, Matt, Darren. I know I'm probably leaving people out, but I don't mean to. But there's so many there, and they're all fantastic. And Chris Dyson, way to go, champ! You nailed it there. Right there's Matt giving the big hug, and there's Dixie. Just a great group. And Matthew Brabham is just, I'm sure, coming over to greet the boss right there as he's taking his helmet off. But what a wonderful
And by
day.
the way, look, overheating on Brabham's car for sure. Look.
Yeah. I know. I think they salvaged that to get that back. I think that's kind of 2 weeks in a row because I was in that position. in Sebring.
Well, let's head down to Ben Sissel. He's got our winner, Chris Dyson.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. I'm here with the champ, Chris Dyson. And I asked you that awkward question there. It was a bad start to the championship, and now you've come right back. How does it feel?
It feels great, Ben. I can't quite process it. It was a hard day out there. It was hot, flag to flag like that. You got to pace yourself, and I know Justin was coming back. You can't let up in these Trans Am races. It's a flat-out sprint the whole way, but you got to look after yourself and the car. It was hot out there, but I got to tell you, that Jim Weed-focused energy, it really helped me out. Greg, Dad, everyone at home, this one's for you. I'm so proud of the guys. We rallied back after a tough one for us at Sebring, but here we are again, another 1-2. We're back in the championship. Let's go.
Nice. Congratulations, Chris Dyson. Nice job. I'm going to come over to Matt Brabham. We got to show something here, Tony. So he came in running hot. His crew guy was coming over with a fire extinguisher, and that doesn't seem like that's overheating. What is that, oil or something? That's oil on the motor, yeah. Yeah, so you can see that we've got oil on the motor that's not overheating. But Matt Brabham, get in here, man. Nice job. You said exactly what you were going to do on the grid there. You just called it. How was it? And this thing, I don't know if you could have gone another lap.
Yeah, no, I was definitely holding on at the end there, but it was an exciting start. I mean, it was side by side. I managed to get around him, and then we were side by side again, and then we were nudging and kind of bumping, and unfortunately he made a mistake going the S's and just went straight off. So it turned out all right for Chris and I, and to bring the Jim Weed cars 1-2, especially with all the hard work from these guys, is just incredible. And obviously. I was spewing out oil everywhere at the end there, and my feet were covered in oil, and there was smoke. But, no, we managed to get home, so happy.
Nice. Well, keep that fire extinguisher handy, please. Let's come back and talk to Justin Marks. Come around this way. Okay. Here we go. Nice job, Dyson, guys. Look out. Let me interrupt Justin Marks. Justin Marks, what a recovery. I know that's not what you wanted to have happen, but what a recovery for your championship run.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think I just didn't get enough heat in the tires on the pace laps, and I had some lockup in the first couple corners, and then had a big one in like the worst place you'd want it, and spent a lot of time in the grass. Obviously, we went green the whole way, so just had to fight back and try to get back on the podium. But it's kind of just my mistake. Just had to try to limit the points loss for the rest of the race.
Were you just out there just because this happens first lap, so you're thinking, oh, there's got to be a double yellow at some point, and then this is the race that it doesn't happen?
Yeah, I mean, I think I was prepared for either scenario. I mean, there was a car that went off that they left out there for like the whole race. I thought at some point they were gonna throw a double yellow, but then eventually he just pulled away. So I don't know. I mean, I was prepared. I was prepared for either scenario.
Well, Justin Marks, third place. Matt Brabham, second. Chris Dyson, first. Gentlemen, back up to you.
Thanks, sir. Yep, excellent stuff. And, yeah, Justin Marks pretty much admitting that it was his fault. He didn't get the tyres up to temperature, and, those S's can catch you out.
That's kind of what we speculated up here, Jonathan Green, was just that, just because he had that lockup, right? He had lockup, and he didn't need to get in. And here's the results with the champion, two-time champ, Chris Dyson taking the win, Matthew Brabham, as you said, P2. Justin Marks rounding out the podium, David Paterick in a real strong fourth. The top five rounded out by Ken Twaits in that Franklin Road Apparel Chevrolet Camaro. The two-time champ of Amy Ruman back there in P6, not really where she runs, not indicative of that. But your winner in XGT, Chris Evans. Winner in SGT, Ricky Sanders. Milton Grant, a great P2, ninth overall. P2 in SGT. Tommy Dreesy brings it home in the top 10. And in TA class would be seventh in class. P11 be Michael Attaway in the GT car in that Audi R8. Beautiful car. And Matt Crandall, XGT as well. And Lee Saunders, that we saw him on track, and that's a car that Justin was referring to, but he had overheating issues. I believe once the temperature came down, he was able to refire and get that thing safely back to pit road. So,
well, there wasn't a lot of overtakes at the front because it all kind of took place in the midfield, and therefore our cool move of the race has to be Justin Marks, because what a comeback. Here he went off, watch this, at the S's on his own, spins it round in the dirt and the grass, hanging out with the Gators, spun it round, and then made his way back and literally scythed his way through the entire field back up to third place. So it is Justin Marks in the 99 who is the recipient this weekend of the Cool Move, the Chill Out Systems Cool Move of the weekend. Well done to Justin. Something you can take home.
Wonderful to have the support of Cool Shirt back in this deal, and the Cool Shirt Systems Cool Move of the Race.
You needed one
award
today.
Back, and you definitely needed it. So Mac bringing that back to that award back to the Trans Am Series. Great to have you back. Great to have Cool Shirt back. We love it.
Now we have highlights, of course, of what the action was in that last race, because it was pretty much all at the beginning and all at the end. But let's take a look at the start, because Justin Marks gets duffed up by Brabham right at the get-go. But then he does a little payback, a little nudge from behind, sends Brabham wide, and then he goes wide off and gives the lead to Dyson. But out of the dirt came the 99 and started to make his way back bit by bit, hence the cool suit move. Here's another one on Amy Ruman. Ruman in a battle with Dreesy. That would come to this moment where Ruman taken out a little bit by Tommy Dreesy, who just made a misjudgment there and would have to come in. But no misjudging the winners. Another back-to-back and 1-2 win for the Jim Weed Dyson Racing team. So that concludes our coverage of TA, but let's take a look at some of the highlights of GT and XGT and SGT, because of course they were no more competitive and in their own race, very much so. And there was some good racing too. They generally start further down the pack, but Lee Saunders it was who led in SGT early on. Sadly, the Viper in this heat would overheat a little bit. Crandall, though, leading in XGT, doing a really good job, but that would come to naught when he had to come in for some reason. We didn't know what it was. And we think it was a cool shirt or a cool box, but there was Saunders out with overheating. That put him out of SGT, and that allowed this man, Chris Evans, to take victory there. The 91, Chris Evans going strong. And that's how they concluded in the TA SGT, XGT. And don't forget, MAV TV from NOLA Motorsports Park. You can watch all the highlights, and it starts for the Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers TA2 Series. That's Thursday, March 16th at 8 p.m. Eastern. And don't forget, literally following straight after that, the TA XGT, SGT, GT, the race you've just watched. And you can see all the highlights on Thursday, March 16th. At 9 p.m. Eastern. I'll let you sum up your day. Adam, I know you want to be out there. I know your second place in the championship has gone. But, hey, what's next for you?
Well, I look forward to Trans Am Thursday nights on MAV TV for sure. That's always great television. But, we'll be at Road Atlanta with the TA2 car for sure, with the Ultimate Headers. Chevrolet Camaro, we're looking to have a strong run there, and you never know if anyone wants to throw me in anything else. I love to drive, and we love to go do this thing, and I love the Trans Am series, and thank you to the fans that tuned in. The fans that showed up here today were amazing, and I couldn't believe how many people we've had here with all the events that are going on. As you heard from the general manager here, Mr. Pace, that he showed every ounce of this facility was being used this weekend, all the way through all the campgrounds. All the campsites were rented for the weekend, so just really good deal for here for the Speed Tour, Pirella Motorsports Holdings. Thank you to Greenlight TV. To you, Jonathan Green, thank you for being the voice of Trans Am. We appreciate you, and look forward to Road Atlanta, my friend.
I'll look out for an FR car for you. If we can't get you in a Trans Am, we'll throw you in a single-seater. I know you'd be happy there. Well, listen, my thanks to Adam Andretti and to Ben Sissel down in the pits. That concludes our coverage of Trans Am here from NOLA, but there's more racing to come from the Speed Tour, so don't go away, because we've got more single-seaters coming your way with both FR and F4. But for me, Jonathan Green, until next time at Road Atlanta, bye-bye for now.
Speed, endurance, desire. For 160 years, Motul has helped further and stronger, tested in the heat of battle, driven with passion, with one aim: to give you superior powertrain protection and performance. Motul.
Hungry for SVRA action? Well, the best way to enjoy classic auto racing is with a delicious classic from Mission Foods. Green flag your race-watching snacks with Mission's mouth-watering race day recipes. Try some of our tasty tacos, piled high nachos, fresh chips with guac, and more. So gear up your ride and fuel up those stomachs with delicious Mission Foods. Now that's too fast, too tasty.
You've got a business to run, big and heavy products to ship, and customers who need them now. When you've got the right driver and the right equipment, you can bet on a spectacular result. Bennett understands complex logistics and puts the best team, the most time, and the latest technology into every customer relationship. So you can sit back, relax, and enjoy the race. Let us handle the rest.
Together, we can move anything.
That's the ironic thing. I'm on a Unity, which is on a SIM card here, and my director in my ear is in the Isle of Man, on the other side of the world.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Isn't that bizarre?
Yeah, that is. Wow. I would not have thought of it.
I know. No, when I tell people that, they're like, what?
Do you have a separate list of the drivers and numbers?
I'm just, hang on, I do actually.
Not most of them, just...
No, it's good to have it in front of you. No, I don't like this because it's not clear enough.
Yeah, it's gonna be good this afternoon though. Everyone's on used tires. So,
Yeah, well, talk about that, because it's these sorts of little things that
the Bay Area, but originally from Sweden. Yeah, so moved here about 12 years ago.
So do you know Linus?
Marcus Ericsson?
Well, yes. No, Linus Lundqvist?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He came through here, and I got to know him. Nice guy.
Oh, that's cool, yeah.
Got to know his sister.
What's
he doing?
Well, sorry?
Is he on Road to Indy now, isn't he?
I'm not too sure. I'm not keeping up.
Okay, welcome back to NOLA Motorsport Park as the cars are already on track for our next race, which is F4 Americas. And I'm delighted to be joined here in the booth by Oliver Westling, who hails from California via Sweden. He's been out in action, and he'll be out in action again, so he may not be here for the whole race because he's got to go and race himself. But I love the fact that we've got drivers in here who have actually sampled and tasted and raced the track that we are looking at the moment. And Oliver, what do you think here? What, first and foremost, your impressions of NOLA Motorsport Park and what it's like to race?
No, NOLA Motorsports Park. It's probably one of the most physical tracks out of the calendar. I think that some other tracks, they have a little bit more straights, so you can relax a little bit before you hit the next turn. But it's by far the most physical and mental stressful track of the year. So yeah. I just think it's tough for everyone, you know, first race of the season. Everyone's trying to get the gist of the car and what the car is doing. So, yeah, definitely by far the most